Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Thursday to everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Behind the Camera with Pete, where every single one of these episodes we have on another video maker in mostly the college football world. I also have video makers on from the NFL and that sort of thing. But we try to get deep in depth behind the YouTube channel. We try to get deep in depth behind some of these people's dating lives as much as they don't want to talk about that kind of thing. But I have a very, very special guest, or maybe even more than one guest for you today. We'll bring them in just a second. Before I do that, though, you all know this guy. Listen, if you've been watching my YouTube channel for the past 2 years almost now, you know who this guy is. If you're new to the channel and you don't know who this guy is, then you definitely need to go check his channel out. And I'll give him plenty of a chance to plug that. But I want to give a little bit of a brief history here, like I do with all these guys, about how I found out about them and what our relationship is like behind the camera. And this guy was probably, I don't know if he was the very first one to reach out to me, but he was definitely, if he wasn't the first, he was probably the second when I had nobody watching me. The only comments I got on any of my videos was how much I sucked and how much I needed, to keep my day job and that sort of thing. And he contacted me, had me on his show several times, gave me a lot of exposure. And, through that time period, over the past couple of years, I have come to find that this is not only a great video maker and very, very undervalued and underrated, in my opinion, but also just one of the best guys on YouTube. Everybody respects him. I have yet to talk to another YouTuber who did not say great things about this guy. We talk on a weekly basis, and a lot of it's not even about football or YouTube. We just talk, as friends would. And I've really, really grown to enjoy his company and enjoy the conversations we have. And I look forward to many, many great things between the two of us and beyond in the future. So without further ado, I want to bring on not only the legendary, the one, the only Catfish from the Volunteer Roadshow, but his esteemed sidekick and former Volunteer football player, the legendary Billy Ratliff. How you guys doing today?
Awesome.
Hey, I'm doing great, man.
Love it.
Listen, I told you before.
You said all them good things about me, and now I feel bad about telling Dabo better have his boys coached up now.
Hey, look, you already know this. I'm looking forward to the day that Tennessee, we can get on here and make a video together where we're talking about a meaningful game between Clemson and Tennessee. I'd much rather be talking to you about Clemson playing Tennessee than arguing with Law Tide about Alabama every year. I'm getting tired of that, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
All right.
Oh, man. Catfish, you might need to handle my lightweight today, man.
Oh, yeah. I'll handle him when he gets out of line.
See, this is what is going to make this particular interview here special to me and probably more interesting than a lot of the other ones I've done. And they've all been interesting. Don't get me wrong. Every interview I've done I think is amazing and fantastic, as is everything I do. But there's a dynamic here that I have not seen yet. I mean, a lot of different dynamics, really. Obviously, having an actual national championship ring holder on your squad is a whole nother dynamic that you don't see on YouTube.
Oh, absolutely. Billy was a godsend to me. I tell you what, I couldn't have asked for a better teammate. And I was wanting to get a player, and I did a lot of research and did a lot of Facebook stalking, and Billy was always at the top of my list. I always have lists that I make, and I reached out to him, didn't think I'd ever get him to respond, and here we are. And man, I couldn't have asked for a better partner and a better friend and a better co-host. It's just been fantastic.
So Billy, tell us, I'm going to start this off with Billy because I definitely want to get into the origin of the Volunteer Roadshow channel. I know about this already, from talking to Catfish, but obviously the show is for the viewers who don't know. But Billy, he just got done saying he was Facebook stalking you and making all these calls. Did you think this guy was a certified lunatic, like a John Lennon type guy that was going to shoot you if he saw you in the streets, or what? I mean, how did this whole thing go down? What made you finally give this guy a call back and take him seriously?
Well, I'll tell you this, Elmar. So when Bobby was reaching out to me, I had a couple of messages in Facebook Messenger, and they wasn't coming into my inbox. They was going to the filtered messages, and I was like, okay, what is this here? I've never seen this before. And I opened up this list. I had almost 200 messages I haven't even seen, filter stuff you probably wasn't supposed to even see. But I read, when I saw Bobby's, I was like, whoa, I mean, this guy's been trying to reach out to me. I haven't been getting these messages. So let me respond back to him and see what he's talking about, you know. And, you know, I finally messaged him back and gave him a phone number. He called me right away, and, you know, we started chit-chatting, and we both ended up having the same ideas, and it was just like deja vu. Like I was talking to one of my teammates, like we had the same playbook and everything, and when it came out, you know, it was just like almost like love at first sight in a sense. You know, it was like, wow, this man knows what he's doing. He's talking exactly the way I'm talking, and it just went from there, and it's just been a special thing since we've been together.
Yeah, I think it's amazing, man. Really, and you know, it's funny that he says he was stalking you because. It was maybe like 3 or 4 months ago on Twitter. I'm not on Facebook, but I do have a Pigskin Pete account on Twitter where I do a lot of, you know, I post all my videos and I do a lot of college football postings on there. But anyway, a couple months ago, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, Taj Boyd started following me on Twitter. Now, I don't know if Taj Boyd has ever seen a video of mine or not, but I don't know, maybe he just liked one of my tweets and said, I'm going to follow this guy or whatever. So I don't know if you know how Twitter works, but once they start following you, then you can send them direct messages. So the first thing I did when he started following me was I sent him a direct message, told him who I was, told him I would love to have an interview with him on my YouTube channel. And I've had nothing but crickets since then. And people like Catfish are telling me you need to be more persistent. You need to keep sending this guy messages. And I'm like, I don't want to come off like a stalker. I'm not going to, you know, bother this guy that much. But it seems like it worked for you.
Yeah, definitely is what I did. I sent him messages, and when I said I was Facebook stalking, I was just making sure the caliber of person. I knew his legendary status. Every Tennessee fan. Even if you weren't alive in '98, you know Billy Ratliff. You know the play. You know the fumble recovery. You know everything.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure all the people on my list were the type of person I want to enter into a partnership with, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
So you got to be persistent, because the answer is always no until you ask. And I treat my show behind the scenes like a business. I mean, you see a lot of the entertainment stuff, especially early on, but I have dreams. And one of my sayings in these meetings that we have with my whole team is, you know, dreams without work is nothing but entertainment. And so we put a lot of work behind the scenes. All of us do. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a great thing.
And so that's the next thing I want to get into. So, look, man, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that you're a lot different than a lot of YouTubers for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you know, having Billy on the staff is a huge plus. But let's go back before Billy. Let's go back before anything, really. I think everybody knows you're a full-time trucker. You're always on the road. I mean, I don't know how many hours on the road you spend a day. I'm saying I would venture to guess anywhere between 10 and 12 hours a day you're behind the wheel of the big rig. And most of us YouTubers are sitting here in the comfort of our own home. I got this nice air-conditioned room with all kinds of my football memorabilia around me. But your studio is an actual cab of a truck. And, you know, I got Wi-Fi here. You've got to make sure you stop at a stop when you're doing your videos that has, you know, a good enough signal to be able to broadcast to everybody. There's just so much that goes in on top of doing your full-time job, working overtime, to putting in these videos. That says a lot about your passion for not only the Volunteer football team, but college football in general. And I honestly don't think I could do what you do. And on top of all of that, on top of the work, on top of the YouTube channel, you are always networking and contacting other videos like me, video makers like me, and countless others trying to link up and get things moving forward. So where do you find the energy for all this? Because I know that the gummy bears by themselves are not giving you the energy to do this.
That was a great video I made on them gummy bears. But anyway, yeah, it is hard to keep it going. And I guess I need to go back to before BVD talked me into doing these YouTube videos. I've known him for a while, but you know, I spend 22 hours a day in this truck, and I jokingly, was part joking, say this is my prison cell, because it's basically I don't even get 3 hots in a cot. I got the hots, but the cot, but I don't have the hots. You know, I'm eating going down the road is hard on your health, and I was suffering from depression, and I've mentioned this a few times and gotten some great private messages about it, but it was real. And a lot of truckers do, because you got all these crazy hours. You know, one day you're driving all night, and the next day you're driving all day. You know, it's just a hard job. And I was on Zoloft, and BVD said, man, he said, you got a great personality. Everybody likes you. He said, man, you need to make some videos, and just get on YouTube and talk about your passion. Tell everybody what you tell me on the phone and make videos. I'm like, I don't know, you know. I was pretty reluctant to do it. I said, but I'll try it for a couple weeks, and if I'd be lucky to get, you know, if I got 50 views and a couple subscribers, I felt like I'd done something. But I struck gold, well, relatively speaking, really early on, and started getting a lot of interaction from fans from other teams. My first big video was early in the season, 2 years ago, 2017, was our Florida game. And I did the typical model, you know, make a midweek hype video or whatever, and then do your crow or gloat video, which I got really good at crow videos because I had to make a lot of them. But my first week was like the day before the Georgia game, because that's when he taught me in a Georgia Tech game. That's when he taught me into it. But just a couple weeks later, I had the Florida one, did my typical pregame Florida video. And then we lost. It was just in a heartbreaking fashion. We had that game won, and we just lost it. And I just basically recorded my reaction to it, and I was just upset. You saw raw emotions. Mm-hmm. And I woke up that next morning, and man, I had like 200 subscribers, and that video had like 10,000 views. I'm like, what? I'm getting all these messages from Florida fans. I said, I didn't have any Florida fans watching me before now. And I found out that somebody had sent that video into I think it was Jacksonville, one of the local TV affiliates, and had it on there. And I guess people looked it up, and it just kind of grew from there. So I got fortunate, and it takes a lot of fortune in this business to really strike it, because I've seen a lot of great video makers that just grow really slow, and sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time, and it just grew from there. But man, and then it wasn't a few weeks later, I had my Georgia video, which was at the time one of my biggest ever, after a 41-0 butt whooping, and I just bore my heart and soul out in a video with a message to Butch Jones, and that thing blew up. And I had so many Georgia fans that weren't trash talking. There were a few on there, but they were just like, you know, very nice. And that just really started changing my life in this YouTube world. You know, I've always seen Georgia, Florida, Alabama. You know, sometimes I would base my friendships based upon your, you know, college football allegiances. All right. And to have such interaction with these fans just changed my life. And within the first 4 weeks of the season, I was totally off of Zoloft, 100%. This became my Zoloft, my antidepressant. My mind was focused. I started getting a dream, and my dream kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger every week. I'd have all these great ideas, and you know, some of them I'd put into action, some of them I wouldn't, and some of the ideas I actually put into action lasted one video, and it was sucked, you know, and so I quit it. But you know, it was just a growing process, and it's just basically the fans. Just being able to have Alabama and Florida and Georgia fans, and even Clemson fans. I've got a pretty good Clemson contingent on our show, and that's same with you. And that's really just changed my life, and it made it where it isn't the work that you think it is. It's what drives me. And Billy will tell you, man, I'm 24/7 into this thing, even though I'm driving. But I can do a lot, even going down the road, making business calls or calling other YouTube video makers. And I always thought early on, why aren't these guys collaborating?
Yeah.
And that's when I remember early on, we started about the same time I saw one of your videos. I think you were actually commenting on one of mine maybe before you made a video. I can't remember. And I reached out to you. I said, man, this guy he really has a great delivery. He's got passion. And I just saw something in this Pigskin Pete guy. And then, I started reaching out to other YouTubers. And fortunately, a lot of them responded. Some of them didn't. But yeah, it really isn't the job you think it is. I put it in a lot of work into it, a lot of time, but it's really what drives me, and that's just how I view the whole thing. And it's a dream, and we put a lot of work behind it. But both me and Billy and the whole team, all the writers that we've got on VolunteerRoadshow.com, and the direction we're going with our IT guy and building websites. It's just what drives me. If I didn't have that, then I probably would be tired all the time from my trucking job.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can relate on a different level. Obviously, I'm not out on the road, 23 months out of the year. Or hell, you might even be not 23. There's not 23 months in a year. 11 months of the year, or 12 months of the year, or whatever it is. But I'm the same way, man. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. But when you're having fun, what's the old saying? If you love what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And so, I mean, you're working. I mean, you're doing real work out there. But the YouTube part of it doesn't seem like work to you. And you're probably, I don't know, man. I consider myself to be pretty good friends with several different video makers. As much as you can be without ever meeting each other. But there's when Catfish calls you and says, "Look, you can call me any hour of the day, Monday through Sunday, anytime, day or night. If I don't answer, I'll call you right back." And a lot of people say stuff like that, but you actually mean it. And I know you mean it because I've done it, and you've done it, and you've lived up to it. So, but that's an amazing story. The fact that you were depressed, and this helped you get over that, and you're not. It's not just an outlet for you to get over your depression. It's something that you love to do, and you continue to grow. You just mentioned, obviously, you had the addition of Billy Ratliff, which I consider to be probably the first big breakthrough for the future of the Roadshow network, if that's what you want to call it. And you mentioned you have other writers. This guy Josh Griffin, is that his name? Who is a writer for Rivals? Can you tell me a little bit about him?
Yeah, I early on, I had this dream of being something more than just a YouTuber. I wanted to have a fan generated content on a bigger scale, and had the idea of having a website, having writers that could write articles, and started doing some of the same things I did with Billy, is trying to find somebody out there that can help, put that dream into reality. And reached out to him, and he said, I watch your stuff. I can't believe you're calling me, and yeah, I'd love to be able to help. And I asked him, I said, hey, I really need some help besides just writing. I said, the business side of things and the technical side of things is just exploding. I need somebody to help me with some content to keep my YouTube algorithms going and building this website. Do you mind making some more technical type videos, which he's done some position previews with Billy, where he kind of takes my place on the show, and they have a pre-recorded video on positions and that sort of thing. And then I've got another writer, Luke Thomas, and then recently I recruited the granddaddy of them all, the OG DVD, is going to be on another website that we have started. It should crank out in the next 10 to 14 days. He's going to be writing some articles and doing a podcast. So we've got a lot of things going, but that's how I reached out to Josh, and he's been a pretty good asset for us, a real good asset.
Yeah, that's really amazing. you know, because we started right around the same time. I think you might have started maybe a month or two before I did. And, you know, you're building a team of people here. I'm still to this point a team of one, but I consider you to be a teammate, and I do think, and actually I know, I do know this, you know, because of the conversations we've had behind the scenes, that we will be more of an actual team in the future. But that's not to be announced. That's not to be announced here. That has nothing to do with this that we're talking about now. But my next question is for Billy. So Billy, I already know the answer to the questions about family with Catfish. I know Catfish's story. I don't know much about your story. Now, I do know some about your football story. So everyone knows Billy was a Tennessee Volunteer. What year was your freshman year?
My freshman year would have been 95, but I redshirted, so 96 would have been my first year playing.
All right, so the 98 national championship team, was that your senior year, your last year there?
That was my junior year.
Okay, so you played in 99 as well.
Yes.
Okay, so after your Tennessee Volunteers career is over, I'm assuming, and this is something I don't know, so this will be new information to me, and I'm sure the Tennessee fans know this story, but I don't, so that's the reason I'm asking. So I'm sure, like most people, like most young men who are elite college football players, your dream was probably to play in the NFL. Is that right?
Yes, most definitely. Every football player's dream is to play in the NFL. I know mine was.
All right. So without, you know, giving away anything you don't want to give away here, but let me know what were those 1, 2, 3, 4 years or however long, you know, after your Tennessee career ended, what were those next couple of years, 2 or 3 years like as far as your NFL dreams were concerned?
Well, I mean, I pretty much had to hang my cleats up a lot sooner than later. Like my senior year when I got injured, I broke my ankle and ended up having some nerve damage. And, you know, of course, once those nerve damage had those issues, you know, no doctors, no teams or anything will even touch me, even though I would go out there and run at just as fast as anybody else or jump as high and anything. I mean, I had the attributes, but it's just the high risk of taking a player like me to the next level was a high risk. So I basically had to hang the cleats up and start looking for, you know, jobs and stuff. And so what I ended up doing was I started volunteering with, you know, some of the local high schools in Knoxville and training kids at like Bearden High School and some starter high schools and just teaching kids what I learned in college and went from there, you know. And it was something, you know, I loved doing. You know, I started, you know, pretty much making a job out of it, you know, doing personal training. Did, you know, some odd jobs where, you know, Knox County, you know, trustees with property taxes and stuff with housing developments and things like that. You know, it was a tough situation after I left, you know, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was, you know, pretty much lost. You know, my whole career was just to get in the NFL. You know, once that was over, you know, it was tough. You know, something. You know, I wish I could go back and do it all over again and figure out a lot sooner than I did. But, you know, life hits you fast and you got to move on and take care of business.
Right. And listen, it doesn't matter if you're an elite athlete for a major college football program. 1 minute you're on top of the pedestal, and you know a year later life hits you in the face. And that's something that's not unique to you. It's unique to pretty much every American out there. There's so many people out there that go to college, whether they're playing sports or not. They don't really want to know what they want to do when they get out, and they end up, you know, they end up having a hard time afterwards. So that's just the way life goes. But tell me, how does your family feel about this new venture for you? How do they feel about you being part of the Roadshow Sports Network and, you know, pursuing college football and being in the college football world in a different type of manner?
Well, I'll tell you this here, you know, when Bobby was talking about, you know, he had a dream and all these things, and, you know, that was something that I wasn't doing anymore. You know, after my dream was exhausted by going to the NFL, you know, I was pretty much moping around. You know, I'm sitting in the house, I come home from work, and I don't do anything, just sitting here without playing video games. It was like I was lost. I was in a cave. And when I finally read that message and listening to Bobby talking about what he was trying to do, it woke me back up. And, and my family, you can see them. They're out and about working out and stuff. I'm working out because they see me up again. They're like, wow, who is this guy? And I'm just happy. It's just, you can see, I got the smile back on my face. I feel like I'm glowing again. It's been amazing just to be part of this show, because he's got me back out. He got me back wanting to do things. He got me talking to people. He basically got me out my shell to just be able to have fun again. And that's something that I'm thankful for him to be having me part of the show. So it's been an amazing trip so far. My family is loving it, and I'm just having fun with it.
And that's really amazing story. Both of you guys have amazing stories, and I can tell you this, man. I don't know if people tell you this or not, but cause I'm not even a Tennessee fan. You know that. I mean, I don't. I could care less what the Tennessee Volunteers do unless they're playing my Clemson Tigers. But I'm a big fan of college football. I love college football. I love every team. I love the fans. I love the players. I love the coaches. I just love everything about it. And I guarantee you, Billy, that you were saying that you were lost, and it was like you come home from work and play video games, and you were just stuck in a rut there for a while. But I guarantee you. You don't know how many people that are big into Tennessee football, and even fans like me who are not Tennessee football fans, but college football fans, when they hear your voice, knowing that you are an actual player, an actual national championship winner, when they hear your voice and they hear the joy in your voice when you talk about college football, you bring a lot of joy that you don't even know you're bringing to people like me and like other fans. So you should rest easy knowing that You'll probably never really know the impact you have on people like us, because we're just a bunch of crazy fans out here. And to have someone that's been, on the inside that's been in there, and we consider you one of us now. You're just a crazy fan like we are now, and so it's really an awesome thing.
Well, I'm glad to be part of it, man.
All right, so guys, tell me about. I know Catfish already touched on this a little bit, and I don't want to give him too many of his secrets away, but we've seen. YouTube changed a lot, man. YouTube came along in like 2007, 2008, and it's really evolved both from a content creator side and just a total business model from YouTube side. And Catfish gave away a little bit here where he just talked about building websites. And so he's basically trying to branch out from just YouTube, which you have to do because we don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. YouTube could... listen, 5 years from now, YouTube could be a completely paid prescription service like cable for all we know. And the people like me and Catfish and the rest of these guys, unless people are willing to pay to see us, then our subscribership is gone. So what do you envision the future of the Roadshow Sports network to be? And maybe not 10, 20 years from now, that's ridiculous, but let's say in the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, I see a lot of behind-the-scenes things that were happening with YouTube when they changed their monetization. Was it earlier this year, into last year?
Yeah.
And I see how they take their percentages of super chats, and then the people have to start Patreon pages, and I see how they really restrict you. And I saw an idea that I could take those ideas and put it on a website. And where I had control of things, and I think that I could offer a lot more than just video content with YouTube. YouTube started not long ago this membership thing where people can pay $4.99 to be a member, but you have to have so many subscribers to even have that function. And I'm sure they're going to take a good chunk of it, but it's just going to be limited to YouTube. And I said, man, there's so much more people are willing to pay to see. And, it costs money. Well, I've sunk a ton of money into this thing. Yeah. So it takes money. I wish I could do it for free because I would. But I have a lot of ideas out there. And when I said joining ideas, the idea of providing valuable content and then being able to collaborate with other YouTubers that are, representing other teams. I started doing that early on with you. Couch Coach, Lawtide, Mr. Dugas, all of them kind of being a part of Roadshow Sports, which is separate from Volunteer Roadshow, and it just kind of evolved from there. My dream is to have a content provider that has a website, has a YouTube channel, Facebook page that can do what Volunteer Roadshow is doing, and then also being joined in and partnered up with a platform where you can put some stuff out there that you might not be able to put on YouTube, or articles, maybe some content that may be out there that you can't monetize on, because I know we talk behind the scenes, your videos get tagged for different reasons, and it wouldn't be tagged in this type of platform.
Right.
And then I've got the legitimate news organization where we're getting press credentials to go to games and collaborate and organize on the news organization side. On the other end of Volunteer Roadshow, just have a duplicate of Volunteer Roadshow for each team, grow it slowly, find great content providers that can really manage content, manage a YouTube channel and a website. And so those are the things that we're working on, because we can't compete against the professionals out there. There's a lot of rivals sites out there that do the same thing, but they're all professional journalism majors, and some of them even masquerade as being a fan of the team that they're covering, and they've got a degree from somewhere else. I'm not naming names, but there's one in Knoxville that's been there a long time that's an LSU grad. And my number one requirement is that they've got to be a diehard fan first, then have the skills to be able to produce content. And I think that's a paradigm that is different, where everything is run by fans. It's not professional journalism majors, communication majors, that it's fan-centric. And my saying early on, and you know this from a long time ago, this show is built by fans, for fans, and it belongs to the fans. And I truly, truly believe that. And I want it to be more than just sports. That's one of the things I talked to Billy about. I wanted to start having some behind-the-scenes life stories of maybe former players that maybe was on top of the world in college and maybe had something happen in their lives and they hit rock bottom and they came back up. I want people to hear those stories. And I told Billy this early on, and I tell it to him all the time, that if somebody came to me and said, hey, you've got a choice and you only have one choice for the rest of your career, Peyton Manning or a Dwayne Goodrich that was on top of the world, he had some problems at the Cowboys, and he's come back, I would take that good story over Peyton Manning. Now, I'd like to have both, but if I had to choose, I want this to be about life, a lot of life stories. Billy's making some videos about his journey through his health issues that he's had, and he made a video a couple of weeks. There's more to come. We've got some other people who are going to help with that. But I want to put a package together that you can't get anywhere else. And that is my dream, and we are a lot further along that journey than people see, because there's so much planning, so much creativity and ideas and building and business decisions that it's coming down the pike pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get this thing launched.
Yeah, listen, for all you guys out there that are watching, look, if you're new to Catfish's channel, or maybe you're not even new, maybe you've been a subscriber for a long time, you look at him, you say, here's a 50-year-old trucker, country boy from Tennessee who just loves his Tennessee volunteer football, and he's just making videos, YouTube videos for fun out of the cab of his truck. I'm here to tell you, you're dead wrong. All of those things are true, but I'm telling you, the ideas and the vision that's coming from this guy are second to none on YouTube, period. And you will know, mark my words, you will know in the next several years exactly how smart this guy really is. I promise you. Whether I'm a part of it or not, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the college football world as far as media goes. Alternative media is what I call it, which, in my opinion, is the best kind of media, because everyone's sick of the same old BS that you see on the network stations. And not all of it's bad, but a lot of it's pretty bad. Let's be honest here. And people want a different voice. And I consider Catfish to be at the leader of that movement as far as fresh new ideas for way to get that content out there. So, look, one last question for you guys. And this is always the most uncomfortable question for people. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I don't know Billy's, Billy, are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that answers that. So never mind. That doesn't matter. If you're married, you're happily married, I'm assuming. Do you have any children?
Hey, talk to me.
Do you have any children?
Talk to me. Bring it.
Do you have any kids?
Hey, I'm a big boy. I can handle it. What you got for me?
I'm saying, do you have any children?
I got kids, yes.
Okay, great. So you're limited to what you can talk about. Look, if your wife listens to anything you do, then we'll have this conversation off air. But Catfish, I know that you have children, and I know that you've been married. What is your current marital status, sir?
Well, I'd rather not reveal that at this time, but yeah, it's a struggle. Driving a truck will put a lot of strains on your relationships, and I have kids that I love dearly and I work hard for and provide well for, but it's been a struggle since Sam was diagnosed with leukemia back in January. It's put a struggle financially. I have to work harder on my day job. It's put a lot of pressure out there, but it's also put things in perspective of what real life is all about. And that hashtag Sam Strong is at the center of everything we do. And we just launched a new shirt idea with Billy on the front of it with his big play against Arkansas. And it's part of the proceeds go to funding the Volunteer Roadshow Foundation that me and Billy starting that would give money to help fight the childhood leukemia. We've got some ideas about doing some things in his hometown back in Magnolia, Mississippi. And there's a lot of history down there in Mississippi with Billy. And we're a lot alike. We're country boys. We come from a lot of the same type of mentality. Obviously, we come from slightly different cultures, but when it comes down to it, we're humans, and we all have our struggles, and we all have to find a way to overcome our struggles. And you're talking about family. That's what my team is. It's a family. Everybody that's on my team, we're family first, and I kept hearing that theme resonate through all these player interviews we had about what made those 90s Tennessee teams so successful. And the number one thing that comes up is chemistry and family. And that's what made them work hard for each other and put it all out on the line. And I know Billy, probably a good time for him to go into that aspect, to how that translates from the team into this family and exactly what that family atmosphere was on a team that people don't get to see.
That's a great question, because you see that a lot with Clemson right now, that the theme has been family, a family atmosphere, and you see what Clemson's doing. And so there's maybe a lot of parallels between Clemson's ascension these past few years and the team that Billy was on. Billy, let's go ahead and dismiss all the speculation. I mean, you have Nick Saban, who's a factory for the NFL, and that Alabama program is run like a machine. But what is the importance of a family type of feeling on a team?
Well, I mean, that's what it's all built into. I mean, that's the reason I came to Tennessee. When I was recruited by Coach Randy Sanders back in '95, he was talking about all the luxuries of the school and stuff, all the things like that, the Neyland Stadium, the traditions and stuff. And I was a country boy coming out of Mississippi. I didn't know nothing about any college sports, anything. Only football teams I knew about were like the Saints. I didn't know what LSU was. I didn't know what Ole Miss was. I didn't know what Mississippi State was. I didn't know none of that stuff, And, when I came on a recruiting trip to Tennessee, I didn't even care about none of that stuff, I was caring about who these people were that I was going to be around, And all my teammates, they'll tell you this to this day. When I came on my recruiting trip, when they was doing all the little, escorting people out, the girls taking you here, showing you everything, I stayed in the hotel lobby and chilled and waited till they came back because I didn't know these people like that. I didn't want to. I didn't know if these people was gonna kidnap me. I didn't know they're gonna put something in my food, and I didn't know none of that stuff. I was totally different, and to this day I'm still that way. I'm always aware of my surroundings. Right. And once class of '95, guys like Al Wilson, Pillis Price, Sean, Bryson, these guys, we got together and I started talking to them, and we had a lot of stuff in common, same backgrounds, same family things, values and stuff. And to this day, we're still connected that way, even though we may not talk for 6 months at a time, but when we get back for the first home game, it's like we never even missed a beat. And it's been that way. It's always about that foundation that Coach Foreman built. And I think when class of '94, when Peyton Manning and all those guys came with Coach Foreman, they built the foundation, and I think when class of '95 came around, it's when we accelerated with the guys that had already had. And that's when it started, when we was kicking Alabama's ass and taking names with the rest of the SEC. And that's when it always takes. You got to have that family. That's what Dabo doing over there in Clemson. That's why my coach, Dan Brooks, went to Clemson to coach with Dabo, because it's that family-oriented situation. You got to have that with those kids, because if those kids can get along, that team ain't going to be about nothing. And I promise you that.
Yeah, I got another question for you, because I love talking about the player perspective on football, but being a fan. So obviously things have changed a lot since you were a player. I mean, there was no Twitter or Facebook or any of that whenever you were playing football. But now it's not just a part of sports; it's a part of everyday life for every American, every kid, every adult, everybody, and it's in your face 24/7, unless you just live in a cave somewhere. So, how much do the players actually pay attention to what's being said about them on social media? Because I made a video about this yesterday, about this, the disrespect that the Clemson fans and the Clemson players feel like they're getting for their recent success. And a lot of that is social media driven. Let's be real. Things like that might have been said behind the scenes and maybe in a newspaper here or there, a local newspaper back in 1998. But now it's constantly bombarding you. So how much do the players, do you think, now pay attention to everything that's being said? And also, to a second part to that question is, how much do the players pay attention to people like Pigskin Pete and Catfish and Volunteer Roadshow and the real hardcore fans that are out there stumping for them on social media and on YouTube and places like that? Do they pay any attention to us, or is it they try to block all that out?
Well, I'll tell you this, like when I played, like you said, it wasn't social media or anything like that. The only thing that we had back then, what we like bulletin board material, where, a player may have said something and the media may have taken out of context and said something totally different to make it seem like it was more than what it was. Today's world with the social media, it's tough, man. Now it's the way it is. You got to get that exposure with the players, and that's what it all's about now. It's like how many likes, how many followers, and all those things. That's how you're able to get marketed now. That's what the NFL teams now see. Now they see that, like Zion Williamson, that everybody, he has a couple of million followers. Guess what? We got to get this guy in, because we're gonna sell merchandise. It's all about selling yourself now. So I understand what these kids are doing with the social media, but also the coaches also, they have something in there where they mandated where these kids are, not doing too much with the social media, like doing stuff stupid or posting things that, like they out having a good time drinking or something like that, and knowing they shouldn't be drinking, just so many different things, like for instance, with all the stuff that's going on with Georgia down there. That's crazy how all that stuff is on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. It's everywhere. And that's what, like Coach Foreman, when I was there, he didn't want you really talking to the media unless you was like, the top guys or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you have limited people that talk to the media. He didn't want anybody that gets so excited and they just say what the heck they want to say. Mm-hmm. It was so different back then. And today's world with the social media, it's tough on these kids. I know if social media was around back in my days, I want to say we had a lot more kids getting in trouble, because there was so much. The eyes was on us all the time, whether we went out to a party, a club or anything like that. The party didn't start until we got to the car. That's what it was like with the athletes and the football players. We got there. All the people in Knoxville would be mad at us because we coming in there taking all the women. It was just crazy. It was just fun. But social media has changed everything. And I think it's good to a certain extent if you're that marquee player. But if you're like that low-key guy that's just, not really getting that many people following you, and, like, for instance, like when I played, I probably wouldn't have had that many followers or anything like that because I didn't want to be heard. I didn't want to. I wanted to be the silent assassin. I didn't want nobody to know that I was coming to tear their heads off. I mean, I was going to show you on the fields and let that do the talking. Because Coach Foreman, I didn't like talking to the media because I'm going to say exactly what I wanted to say. I didn't like sugarcoating stuff. Media want to ask me, how are your knees feeling? Well, I can't tell them that my knees are okay because the coaches already done told them I'm having knee issues. I'm like, okay, so I can't tell them that, so I don't want to talk to the media. So if I come into the locker room, like, for instance, the Arkansas play, I got the fumble and things like that, guess what? I'm trying to hurry up into the locker room, get dressed, take a shower before the media get in there so they even see me.
Yeah, listen, I get
so I can't talk to them.
Yeah, I get that part of it. And, a lot of teams, like even Clemson, they have a social media ban during the season. Everybody that's on Clemson's football team right now, they're silent until the end of the season. They can't tweet out. I understand that part of it. They don't want their players getting themselves in trouble or trying to defend themselves or doing something that's going to hurt themselves or the program. My question is, though, is that even if they're not posting on social media, they're still reading what's on social media. And so I guess my question is even if they're not saying nothing and getting in trouble, how much does it affect them what they're reading on social media?
Well, I mean, you have some guys that stuff gets to them, you got guys that didn't even care about it, like, for instance, I had my teammate, Darwin Walker. He loved to read, his stats or what people was talking about him or what they cared about him. And it was me. I'm like, man, don't even think about that stuff. Let's just go with it. And, of course, yes, we love to hear people talk about it. And if you're talking about us, we listening. That's and
right.
With the social media now, yes, these kids are listening to you. I mean, you may not hear, but, now that, we're going to be getting a lot of looks from people watching these videos, these kids are watching, man. I mean, I promise you. I mean, they love to Google their names. I'm telling you, that's the new era, man. I mean, we love that kind of stuff. You type your name in and say, "Oh man, I ain't never seen that article," and you're talking about some stuff that we never heard. Maybe someone said something. You may have seen a stat or something that we didn't even know we had. They love that stuff. Even guys now, if you get them to come back and you write an article about them and put some on, they're like, "Oh man, that's me right there." They love that stuff, man. It's amazing when you say a player's name, they will eat it up. Peyton Manning would do the same thing right now. You may not think he don't care about it, but say Peyton Manning and he Google his name. Oh, he don't. Oh, yeah, I like that. It's just an athlete. They love to be talked about.
Yeah, that's human nature. I get it. I just always
testosterone.
Yes, it always interested to me to think, is there players out there that care what people like me have to say or people like any other, because we're just these crazy fans out here making these videos. And I don't know, if somebody asked me if a player saw one of my videos, would they like what I was doing or would they hate what I was doing? I wouldn't know the answer to that because they stay out of it as they should. But that's what always fascinates me is what is their view? Because I spend so much time, look, if I read something in the newspaper on social media that is, dogging Clemson, I take it personal as if I am a player. And I've never played down a football for Clemson, not even close. So I can only imagine if I get that upset as a fan and I didn't even play and they read the same stuff, they must get real pissed. I mean, but I don't know. That's the reason I'm asking. I can just imagine how mad they get.
Right, that's just part of it there, Pisky. I mean, we love it. You if you write about me, trust me, I'm gonna go listen to you or read it. I love that kind of stuff, especially on the downtime. When we're not that busy. Like especially like right before like the games and stuff. we're reading, we're watching that stuff because it's, we don't have anything else to do. We don't have our PlayStations or the Xbox or anything. So these things are being talked about us. I mean, whether we like it or not, it's still part of our lives. You're talking about us. So it's something that the kids, they're going to listen. I promise you.
Right. All right. Well, listen, guys, I can't thank you enough. Billy gave me some insight into being an actual football player that I've never had before. Catfish, doing big things over there. Again, if anybody – listen, he brought up his son Sam with his battle with leukemia, and that's a perfect time to go ahead and say this. That you see this Bet Now decal on the screen here. Go down to the link in the description. Look, if you like to wager on college football, click that link. Use the promo code Peete. They'll give you 50% bonus, and a portion of all the proceeds that are used through that link – and links on other college football channels, too. It doesn't have to be on mine. It could be on Mark Rogers. It could be on Catfish's channel. It could be on a lot of different channels. If you want to just have fun wagering on football and support St. Jude's Children's Hospital, make sure you go ahead and do that. I'm going to be doing it, and I hope that a lot of you guys will also support the cause. Sam Strong is the hashtag. So, guys, listen. Catfish, you're amazing and fantastic. Billy, you're amazing and fantastic. I cannot tell you how humbled I am that the two of you came on and to do this. This is one of my favorite series, man. This behind the camera thing. It does not get the most views. I could post a Kelly Bryant video when we get off of here. It'll get a couple thousand views probably. That's not what it's all about. When I do these behind the camera videos, they're the most fun thing that I can do because I learn about the person behind the camera. That's the whole point of it. And everybody that I've had on so far, including you guys today, has been so open and willing to talk about things outside of YouTube and outside of football. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. So thank both of you for that.
Well, I appreciate it too, Pigskin. I've watched it from the very beginning, and this is a great show, great platform, and I believe in you, and I have since the first time I met you, and you got a lot of great things, and maybe we can do something together in the future. We're waiting to see what all we can work out on that. But, yeah, you're doing a great job, and we're glad to be on here, and we're glad you asked us. And we're going to keep bringing it just like I know you're going to keep bringing it. But I got one request. Well, I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't take me up on it. But you need to tell Dabo he better have his boys coached up. I'm telling you. Because you're going to be facing my balls in the college football playoffs this year. I promise you that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, if that happens, a party at my house, and you're all invited. Not just you and Billy, but everybody.
No, for real, we're a couple recruiting classes away, but I'm still going to bring it, and I'm still going to chirp, and I'm going to be out there. That's just what I like doing.
Well, that's why I love you, and that's why it's great to have Billy on there. Look, it's it won't be like me. When I came on YouTube, Clemson was already good. So whenever the Volunteers are at the top of the college football world, it's going to be even better for you. I promise. I promise you that.
Yeah, definitely, because I started in the worst season in Tennessee football history. And that's not any hyperbole. That's a fact. We went 4-8, and that was the worst time to start. So I'm hoping we can get good, and we are. There's no more hoping. We're going to be good because Jeremy Pruitt's got us turned in the right direction. I really believe that.
Yeah. No, I think so too. All right, guys. Again, thank you for coming on. Everyone, go check out Volunteer Roadshow. Roadshow Sports Network, and you will not be disappointed. Even if you're not a Tennessee fan, if you're just a fan of football, go check him out. And if you do that, if you're not subscribed to him, if you subscribe to him, you're not only doing him a favor, but you're doing me a favor. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys. Sounds great. Great show.
We are sorry, but the show has ended. Goodbye.
There you have it. That's Catfish and the legendary Billy Ratliff from the Volunteer Roadshow. I can't thank them enough. Again, go to Bet Now if you want to wager on football. I'm doing this way. Click the link. Make sure you use the link if you want the money to go to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Deposit some money. Have some fun wagering on football. Use the promo code Peete, P-E-E-T-E. Get 50% bonus on it. And remember Sam Strong, hashtag Sam Strong. That's the Catfish's son. This was a great episode. Look, when's the season starting? In 2 weeks? I got probably 2 more guests coming on. I know there's one guest that everyone's been asking about, and I have saved him for last for a reason. But there's also another one that I think I'm going to have on next week if he's available. So we might be able to squeeze 2 or 3 more of these behind the camera episodes in before the season starts. And by the time the season starts, I'm going to be so crammed with just football content that I don't know if I'll be able to do these behind the camera, series on a regular basis, maybe until the off season. So I hope you're all enjoying them. I know I am. Thank you all for stopping in. You're all amazing. You're all fantastic. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete checking out.